Well, it finally fucking happened. It was a long time coming, realistically, wasn't it? Assassin's Creed multiplayer is now no longer playable at all, even on PC. I think maybe Black Flag is, I'm not really sure, but I was never really a big Black Flag fan when it came to the multiplayer, nor was I with AC3 either. It was always a lot more Brotherhood and Revelations, and that was the one. Those were the ones that was fun to revisit, even though more people were playing the newer ones. Um, I mean, they're not that different. I think it's kind of just map preference, to be honest with me. But now it's given me some excuse to finally use some Black Ops footage, as Elva continues to rope me into playing this every so often. Um, I used to be. It's weird with COD. I used to be not that good at it. Um, like, kind of just sucked. Like, really, really sucked. Uh, but I'm honestly not that bad. And you could say it's the skill-based matchmaking, maybe. But I was also doing pretty well playing Battlefield 6 as well, and I've never been a big Battlefield guy. So I think just as I've gotten better at games, I'm better at these sorts of ones that I used to kind of suck at. But I thought I'd do a commentary. Because, well, I kind of have always wanted to do a COD commentary because it kind of reminds me of the old days. I used to watch a lot of COD commentaries back in the day, and now I'm actually good at the game. I can do them, although I did just die. It's fine. This was a pretty good game, I think. Um, but I kind of wanted to discuss something that I guess I struggle with kind of all the fucking time. And I don't know whether this is like a common thing that people find. Um, but it's a weird one that I've been grappling with really recently. While I've been working on a video on Ghost of Tsushima, um, and kind of trying to like balance how much I am working versus how much I'm not, and how much like with balancing motivation with pressure and deadlines, and also freedom too. And sometimes I like really like take a step back, like a very aerial third person view, right, to think about like what the fuck I'm doing. And it's a weird one. I must imagine that people, because for me it's like bizarre, right? How like being self-employed grants you so much freedom, and I'm able to kind of do what I want when I want, and that's a luxury that I never ever take for granted. Well, I probably do sometimes. I think that would be a lie to say that I don't. But I would imagine when you're employed normally, this is probably a thought that is maybe even more common. The idea of like, what are you doing? Why are you doing it? What's the purpose, right? Because like when I think about what I'm doing, it's like, well, I should have more like inherent, not inherent purpose, but more like directed purpose, right? Because I'm in control of what I do in a way that a lot of people don't have the luxury of. But then also I find myself like I feel like I'm waiting. I feel like I don't embrace that freedom, both creatively and just in general, because I'm waiting for when I'm going to be so secure that I can just go, right, finally I can do whatever I want. And I feel like that's never actually going to happen, right? That time is never going to come. I'm never going to be in a position where I have the absolute 100% freedom forever. And I'm wasting the time that I have now where I have an obscene amount of freedom that most people don't have. But it's this weird mentality that I don't know where it comes from, where it's like I have to get there first, right? And it doesn't allow me to balance things in a way that would make sense or would be the most healthy or would be right to do to enjoy your life more. And when I look back on the past like 10 years or whatever, um, maybe not quite 10 years, maybe more like 8 years, I'm not sure. Um, and seeing like how I've changed what I do and what I make, and kind of the way I approach creation in general, I definitely think I am in a better position than I used to be, but only in the way I do things. That doesn't make a lot of sense. Only in the way that I actually conduct myself, like in a literal, like physical sense. Like I do work less than I used to. I do like actually take more breaks. The difference is mentally it's no different. I don't mentally take breaks. I don't mentally relax. I don't mentally take time off. Um, and it kind of means like it makes it more apparent in my head where I'm like, what am I doing? Right? Like, this Ghost of Tsushima video I'm working on, I'm like, I need to get this done before the game comes out because that'll be a really good business decision to get it out like the week before Yotei. Everyone will be clicking on it. It'll be exactly like what happened with God of War 2018. That's exactly what happened before, and I'm like, it was a great decision. I'm glad I got it done. It will be good to do that again, especially in a year where revenue has been down because I haven't been uploading properly because of a multitude of different reasons, and that makes sense. But what am I gonna do when I'm done? When the video's done, I achieve this goal, I'm only going to do something like this again. Like, it's not going to fix the issues that I have with balancing in my life or with regards to work. And it's obviously something that is just inherently, like, in my head. I can't, like, it's just my default, in a way. And it's bizarre. The more I think about it, like on a larger scale, the more I think about it from a third-person view, like, what the fuck am I doing? Which is kind of, that sounds a bit like doom and gloom, right? And maybe it is a little bit. Maybe it is a little bit miserable, a little difficult to deal with sometimes, not really understanding why I can't make my brain work in the way that I want it to. Because I'm afforded so much time and freedom and this luxury that people don't have. Why am I not embracing it and appreciating it and just enjoying myself? Why am I stuck in this mentality of like, oh, I gotta get the next thing out, I gotta do the next thing, I gotta work. It's silly, right? And I feel like I'm in this weird limbo of like trying to figure out. That was a really good that was a really good play. Holy shit, look at me go. I'm so good at this game. Yeah, I'm in this like limbo of trying to figure out like what the fuck I'm doing. And maybe I always will be. Maybe that's just how things are. And maybe you need to reflect and your life kind of becomes clearer in retrospect. You look back at things and you're like, man, I that was cool. I'm glad I was able to enjoy that. But I don't know. I'm unsure. And I guess I don't know how other people generally feel. Do other people generally struggle with not really having a purpose? Is this just me? I don't know. Maybe this is getting a bit too deep for a YouTube commentary. I didn't mean for it to. I just kind of want to talk a little bit about a subject. But now I feel like I'm just fucking trauma dumping on my alt. Which was not my intention. I want to make that clear. And I'm aware that I might sound like a crazy fucking out of touch YouTuber that's like, oh my god, my life is so difficult. I have to play games and write scripts and edit and fucking don't have to do anything for a living. Oh no, boo-hoo, poor me. And yeah, I mean, maybe that is true. Maybe I need to suck it the fuck up. But I think, things you struggle with are relative, aren't they? And it's not so much of a struggle. Like, I think that's a bit too harsh of a word. I think it's just something weird that I've been thinking about more than anything else. Because ultimately it's not something I'm struggling or grappling with necessarily. It's just like a thing I thought, and I'm like, yeah, it's weird. Like, I think when I get so much pressure and so much stress around a project, is like, I kind of think to myself, I'm like, what am I do? Like, is finishing this project in time going to give me genuine internal fulfillment? Am I going to feel good about doing that? Or like, what am I doing it for? Have I just decided this is a thing I need to do and I'm just going to do it because I need to do it? And it's kind of weird. But then it's like, well, but I do need to, though. So regardless of that, I do need to, right? Like, what else am I going to do? And I guess that's maybe the thing is all of the weight of my life and things that I do and where I find value and, like, fulfillment is through the things that I make. And not really anywhere else. And maybe it is like a continuous. The more you do this, and I think you do often find it with a lot of YouTubers, especially people that are more content oriented, like I used to be with like news and updates and content and content. You know what I mean? I think you can easily lose yourself in that, where it's like, where even are like, as a person, where have you gone? You know what I mean? It's like as a person, not a content creator, not even an artist, like just as a person, where the fuck have you gone? And sometimes you can lose yourself in that. And I think it's still something that is like a something to fight against. Even though I'm more disconnected than I used to be with like the numbers and the business side of it and stuff like that. But it is I that might like I feel like it's trying to reconnect with life outside of the bubble of creating stuff. But sometimes it's difficult to do that because sometimes you put so much stock in the things you make and it becomes who you are as a person. And I don't think that's wrong 100% of the time. But like I said, there's obviously a balance. A balance that I don't have. Yeah, I don't know. I need to go to therapy. Fuck's sake. What am I talking about? I hope this wasn't too deep. Thankfully, nobody knows this channel exists, so doesn't really matter that much. Also, why do companies keep calling like points with the abbreviation CP? I feel like that needs to be caught internally somewhere. You know what I mean? Like COD points should not be CP. What are we doing? Like, why are we doing? Like in Forza, when you get car points, it's the same thing. Why are you doing that? Why are you doing that? Let's find any other abbreviation. How about that? You know what I mean? COD coins? CC? Why not that? Huh? The fuck are we doing? God damn it. Anyway, thanks for listening to the commentary. I'll be back in 3 years for another one, probably. See ya.